after years of war.
All my life, I have answered every call. To honor, duty, to war.
How often do we look at an upcoming movie year and think, okay, this one actually looked exciting? Because that's the exactly same feeling 2026 is giving. There are massive franchise films, bold adaptations, and smaller movies that feel like they could completely surprise us. So today, we want to walk through the movies you should be generally keeping an eye in 2026. Not just obvious ones, but the ones that might stick with us long after the credits roll.
Let's start with the film we already know are going to dominate the conversation. First up is Avengers Doomsday. Whether you're still deep into Marvel or you have taken a step back lately, this one feels important. It's being set up as darker, bigger, and more serious than what we've recently seen. And it might be the movie that either pulls audience back or and completely reshapes the MUC movie forward.
Then there is Dune Part 3, which honestly feels like a guaranteed theater experience. If you loved the scale, tension, and visuals of the first two films, this final chapter is shaping up to be something special. This is one of those movies that feels it's made for the biggest screen possible.
And yes, Toy Story 5 is real. Some people are excited, some people are nervous, and some are asking if the story already perfectly ended. But Pixar doesn't usually revisit this franchise without a reason. And history tells us that we are probably not leaving the theater emotionally untouched.
We are also getting Spider Man Brand New Day, which sounds like a more grounded and personal chapter for the character. After all the multiverse chaos, that smaller focus might be exactly what Spider Man needs.
This is where 2026 gets really interesting. We've seen classic stories being reimagined in ways that don't feel safe or predictable. Wuthering Heights is getting a bold, emotional, intense adaptation that leans into obsession and chaos rather than its quiet romance. It's definitely going to be divisive, but those are often the most memorable films.
And on the complete opposite end of the scale, we are getting The Odyssey as a massive cinematic journey. Monsters, survival, temptation, and adventure. One of the oldest stories ever told is getting a modern, epic treatment that could turn out to be unforgettable.
One of the best things about 2026 is how balanced everything feels. Action fans are getting intense, grounded thrillers. Sci fi lovers are seeing a return to thoughtful world building and a big deals. Horror is leaning more towards psychological tension, and instead of cheap scares and a drama and romance, fans are getting stories about focus on people and relationships and emotional depth. It doesn't feel like every movie is chasing the same trend, and that's refreshing.
What's really stand out is that both big studios and smaller filmmakers seem willing to take risks again. Franchises are experimenting, new voices are getting opportunities, and audiences seem hungry for stories that actually mean something. This doesn't feel like a filler year. It feels like a year where movies become experiences again.
And now we want to hear from you. Which movies are you already excited for? Which movies are you most unsure about? And which films do you think is going to surprise everyone? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. See ya!